Take 3.
Kathy was saying to me, and I completely agree with her, that display, especially in year 5 and 6, is very poor. And so is art, and so is DT. But when I've seen really crappy displays in year 6 corridors, I've said to Anne, you know, some of this really looks like infant work. And she said to me, oh, I know, Dominic's done it. It's rubbish. But I can't really say anything to him. So I'm in this ridiculous position where I'm supposed to be in charge of art and display, and it's up to me to make sure that it's good, but it isn't good, and I've got no real power to do anything about it.
Responsibility without power.
You know, what I really want to do is go up to Dominic and say to him, your display isn't very good. Take it down and do it again.
Stressful.
I can't even say to him, do you think you ought to go on a course on display, or do you just want someone else to do it? Because quite frankly, when you do it, it looks like shit.
You could try.
I can't, Mike. I haven't really got the authority, and you know as well as I do that it's the same people who are doing crap displays.
Are the same people who get away with not doing any planning or assessment.
The men.
Precisely.
But the thing is, in theory, they're senior to me.
You're having a bloody laugh. Have you read this?
Theory.
Have you read this? It's a bloody joke. This is the last bottle of water until next term. The tea fund has now run out.
Yeah, you know what the problem is, don't you?
Yeah, go on.
I had a word with Denise in the office, and you know what she said? I don't know why, but people are drinking too much lately.
I can tell her bloody why. It's because it's been the best part of 90 degrees in my bloody room, and there's no safe drinking water in this place. That's why. I wouldn't have minded, but I paid for the whole term up front.
We were just talking about my performance review.
Oh, yeah, I bet that was fun.
Kathy was having a bit of a go about the display.
I think they're all right. Well, mine are all right. I think the photos I put up of last year's trip to Blackmore House are great.
She said that if Ofsted come in, they'll say our display is rubbish.
Come on, Dom, they've been up there for 2 terms, the backing paper's ripped and you haven't even mounted them.
Yeah, well, I have books to mark. Unlike you lot in Key Stage 1, I don't spend all day playing with sand and bloody water.
You just threw those up one Friday afternoon just before we all disappeared to the monkey puzzle.
I think they're fine anyway. I wouldn't worry about what Kathy says. She had a right go at me about the RE.
How do you mean?
Well, I hate RE, so I'll never teach it.
What, not at all?
Nope. And I said to her, if anyone asks me to teach RE, then I'll say, no, bollocks, why should I? I don't agree, it should be taught in schools.
Well, what did she say?
Well, nothing. She just sort of did that, you know, nervous laughing thing that she does, and then went into one about everyone having to use cream paper or something.
What?
Yeah, I heard Anne say something about that. It's because dyslexic kids find it easy to read.
But there isn't any cream paper. There never has been. We always order white paper. It's cheaper.
I know.
Well, so what are we supposed to do
Well,
then?
fortunately, we didn't have time for that particular debate. We had to finish early so she could show some prospective parents around.
Oh, not the Cave family.
I don't know, I didn't catch their names.
No. I mean that family who've just come over from Afghanistan. They used to live in the mountains, in caves, probably.
Jane, you can't say that.
I'm serious, they did live in caves, as far as anyone can tell. They've just come over from Afghanistan. They can't speak a word of English, and one of the kids has been shoved in with me. Mel's got the other 2 in reception.
Well, at least you'll get EAL support.
What use is EAL when they literally can't speak a word? Anyway, Pat's a complete waste of space.
Well, that's true. It might help if she could actually speak the language herself.
You can't expect Pat to speak Afghanistani.
I was talking about English. Hers is a rough approximation. How the kids ever learn anything from her, I'll never know.
You know, she even admitted to me that she's got no way of telling how old those kids are. I mean, that kid in my class, he's 15 if he's a day.
Not tall. Long dark hair, looks a bit dishevelled.
Yeah.
Thought she was your new classroom assistant.
I'm serious, Mike. It's a nightmare. The poor kid doesn't even know the basics.
I've got this great worksheet from Pat you can have.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, all about the wives of Henry VIII.
But he doesn't even know the basics. You know, what lunch is or toilet or...
Or concentrate blue group or you'll never get a level 4.
Why did you get lumbered with him anyway?
Oh, because I've only got 26, I suppose. Or Kathy knew I wouldn't make a fuss.
She wouldn't have dared put him in with me.
Today, right, we were doing some art, and some of the kids were washing up at the sink, and he sees the sink full of water, rushes straight across the classroom and shoves his head straight in it.
Stop it, you're terrible.
I promise you.
What did you do?
Well, I tried to explain to him as best I could that the sink's for washing up, and then I got little Darren Tozer to show him the drinking fountain.
Ooh, blimey, you were risking it a bit, weren't you?
How do you mean?
Well, entrusting him with little Darren Tozer. If he's anything like his bigger brother.
Well, Darren's always been as good as gold with me. His mum loves me.
She smells, the whole family does.
You're as bad as she is.
Yeah, she smells of pubs and the kids. They smell of Marmite.
And whenever our kids have done anything wrong, it's never their fault, I know. But it's really simple. The key to Darren is to give him a sticker every time he does something good.
That old trick.
You know, no matter how small and inconsequential. And then I say to him, that's really good, Darren. I'm going to tell your mum how well you've done.
Well, he must be thick if he's in year 4 and he still falls for that one. He wouldn't get you very far with year 6.
Today, he was just going to kick little Gemma Bartlett, and I said to him, oh, Darren, don't do that. I was just going to tell your mum how fabulous you are. And he stopped.
Almost 50% of newly qualified teachers leave teaching within 5 years.
Do we still provide her with free childcare?
Who?
His mum, Mrs. Stinky Tozer.
How do you mean?
Well, she used to drive me up the wall. She's always the last one here to pick her kids up from school, you know, making the most of the free childcare. In the end, I got Kathy to write to her.
A bottomless pit of pointless paperwork.
I'd have started bloody charging her.
Here, listen to this. Dom, it is estimated that the average teacher now completes the equivalent of a 10,000-word essay every week.
Bollocks.
At least.
Oh, it wouldn't surprise me, Dom.
I don't do 10,000 words in a bloody term, let alone a week.
Well, I did at least that when I came in at Easter to plan this term with Angela.
The learning objectives, the introductory activity, the differentiation for children with English as an additional language and children with special educational needs.
What you've planned for low ability, for medium ability and high ability.
The plenary session.
The questions to check understanding.
The assessment opportunities.
Where it fits in with the lesson that comes after it.
And the one that went before.
And the one that went before
And don't
that.
forget teaching assistants.
Oh, well, how could I? Mine virtually needs a fully illustrated manual before she'll even set foot in the classroom.
It's all such a monumental waste of time.
I know.
And energy and effort and resources.
Well, that's exactly what it says here.
I know, Dom, believe me, but, you know, what choice is there? It's got to be done.
Well, I'm damn sure I don't do it. Not all of it, anyway. I gave all that up years ago, along with coming in every Saturday morning to do the school garden and giving up the last weekend before Christmas to sell mince pies at the bloody fair. I mean, how many jobs do you know where people are actually made to come in their own time to paint the bloody toilets?
It's worse than that. You're actually made to feel guilty if you don't.
Well, that's something else I gave up a long time ago, feeling guilty.
If only it was that easy.
It's destructive.
If you take this job seriously, you're made to feel guilty if you don't dedicate your whole life and soul to it.
Oh, right. So because I don't stay here till 6 o'clock every evening, because I don't feel guilty, because
I'm not saying
I don't always turn up to staff
That's
meetings,
not what
and
I'm
I don't always fill out pointless bloody forms, then in some way I'm not taking my job seriously.
That's not what I'm saying,
Hang on
Dom.
a second. Had you thought for 1 second that maybe I've got the balance right?
I would love to have your attitude, believe me. It would make my life a whole lot easier.
You could always leave.
What?
You know, follow the trend.
I don't want to leave.
Yeah, well, on that subject, it's what, 4:30? I'd love to chat, but I'm well and truly out of here. I don't get overtime.
Cheers, Dom.
And tonight, when the kids are finally in bed, and I nosedive another bottle of red wine, I won't even have that much guilt.
See you tomorrow.
Yeah.
But I really don't want to leave.
This bloke did.
No. It's not the answer.